Joining us now, Joe DiGenova, legal analyst, former U.S. Attorney to the District of Columbia. Joe, good morning.
Good morning to all the mural painters in D.C. Good morning.
Yes, we're all mural painters now.
Yes, I'm going downtown today to paint a mural.
Well, that's the only way. That's the way that you're allowed to violate all.
I haven't picked my spot yet. I haven't picked my spot yet.
I'll send Vince down with bail.
Right.
Joe, Lindsey Graham yesterday said that he has been denied access to interview an FBI agent and an FBI analyst who met with a key source for the Steele dossier. He has sought interviews with the FBI agent and supervisory intelligence analyst to discuss the interview in January 2017 with the primary source for Christopher Steele's dossier. He has not said who is denying him this, whether it's the FBI or the DOJ. Why would he be denied access to a source to try to get to the truth?
Well, I don't think this has anything to do with the Durham investigation, so that's not the reason he's being denied. It's probably Christopher Wray and the remnants of the Buente Brigade in the FBI trying to protect the FBI once again. Ultimately, he'll get to interview them, but let's remember, Lindsey has not issued any subpoenas. These have only been requests for interviews. Mm-hmm. He put off the subpoena decision the other day after Dianne Feinstein threw a hissy fit. I'm not quite sure what Lindsey's up to. This has a bit of a kabuki dance to it, and whether or not he's serious or not remains to be seen. But it's clearly that the FBI is denying him access. It wouldn't be the Department of Justice. And eventually the DOJ, which is rather busy right now, will catch up with Wray, and then we'll have another, idiotic, what a great job Chris Wray is doing when in fact he isn't.
Yeah, I want to get more of your impression of Lindsey Graham throughout all of this, because he often seems to be a lot like Trey Gowdy, a guy who made a lot of noise but didn't actually use the tools at his disposal to get to the bottom of it. What's going on with Senator Lindsey Graham? Well,
there must be something in the South Carolina water, because Gowdy and Graham are good friends and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. The problem with Lindsey is he's never been in this fight. He talks a great game. He's a lovely guy. Victoria and I know him. We've admired some of his work. He did a great job in the Kavanaugh hearing, and he really did a beautiful job there, so he gets a lot of credit for that. On this area, on the hoax, the Russia hoax, and getting to the bottom of it, it's just inconceivable to me that how bad the questioning was of Rod Rosenstein the other day, for example. No one bore in on the oh-so-earnest, oleaginous Mr. Rosenstein about just what was his legal basis for appointing Mueller, and just why, after all the evidence came forward, did he extend and expand the Mueller probe when they knew there was no evidence? That's Graham's fault. And so with this, I expect him not to fight, because he apparently doesn't like to fight.
But it's odd, because you're right, he did, especially during the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, is when he became unleashed, and we were all just in wonder of, like, what happened? Who is this man, and what have you done with Lindsey Graham? It was pretty impressive. So you're just telling me that this is all just to show that his heart isn't really in any of this, as we're starting to see now.
That's the rap he's got. That is the rap he has in Washington, that he's all just smoke and mirrors, and that he doesn't actually show up on game day.
Well, remember, the Kavanaugh thing was extremely important, and it was effective, but it was nothing more than a speech. I say two things about senators when anybody wants to make them the head of an executive agency. Don't put a senator in charge of an executive agency, because they only do two things in life. They talk and they vote. That's it. They don't run anything. Sometimes they know some things. In the case of Lindsey, it is a bizarre, inexplicable conduct over a long period of time. He loves to talk. He's pretty good at it. He's a good soundbite person for TV. Right. But when the rubber hits the road, he ain't there.
Let me move on to another issue that's, I think, inexplicable to most sound-minded Americans, which is that MSNBC made the following announcement over the weekend. Take a listen.
Now, two people who advised this country's top law enforcement agency about the law, former FBI General Counsel Andrew Weissman, and we're very happy to welcome to our network Lisa Page, former FBI lawyer who worked as special counsel for Robert Mueller's legal team. She worked on the Russian government disinformation probe and on the Hillary Clinton email investigation, both, lucky for us, MSNBC analysts. Andrew, let me start with you.
Yeah, lucky for us, MSNBC says, as they hire yet another law enforcement person, yet another spook, and yet another person who was involved specifically in the case to go after the plot to go after the Trump campaign, Joe.
Well, this is the level to which NBC has sunk. Let's remember Lisa Page is a disgraced former FBI lawyer, terminated by the FBI, and there she sits with Andrew Weissman, one of the most unethical and unprincipled federal prosecutors who ever took a case to court on behalf of the people. Lisa Page is, of course, a disgrace. We don't need to sort of harp on that, but her legal skills are obviously bereft. I mean, they're gone, they're non-existent. She's now become a political figure. NBC News is so anti-Trump that poor Tim Russert is spinning over in his grave watching what they have destroyed what Tim built over there on Nebraska Avenue. I mean, it really is a joke. It's an embarrassment. I mean, just think about it. Andrew Weissman, one of the most politically corrupt prosecutors in the history of the Justice Department. Remember, Andrew Weissman could not go back into the Justice Department after he left the Mueller probe because he feared an investigation by the Inspector General of his conduct during the Mueller probe. Lisa Page, of course, what can you say? Text messages from her as a lawyer to Peter Strzok are some of the most embarrassing and unprofessional text messages ever seen in any line of work by any employee at any time. What more? And so, therefore, she becomes a top analyst at NBC on national security and legal issues. You can't make this up.
Well, Joe, it looks like somewhere down the road, when John Durham is done, it looks as if MSNBC, CNN, NBC are going to be looking for some new contributors once John Durham is done, hopefully. Joe, thank you so much. Have a great week.
You bet.